you need to know about today is about work and mechanical advantage. Work is actually the transfer of energy to an object by using a force that causes the object to move in the direction of the force. You can actually push something. If you were to push against the wall and push and push and push and push and push, and the wall didn't move, you would actually be doing absolutely no work. You could be breaking out in a big sweat and you would still be doing no work because the object did not move. However, if I took my little pinky and pushed a pencil across the table, I would be doing more work with very little effort because the pencil moved. That's how work works in science. It's a little bit weird. Now, mechanical advantage is a number that tells how many times a machine multiplies a force. Now, if I took a bulldozer to the wall of the school, I could knock that puppy down and it wouldn't be a big deal. So I would have an advantage by using that machine. Now, those aren't really the machines that we're using here this year in science, but that's kind of what it means. And so my question for you is, what is the advantage of using a machine? You do more work, and work always involves moving in the direction of the force with less effort force. Now, the machines that we will be talking about this year in science are simple machines. And I really believe this is a review for you, so we're not going to spend a ton of time on it. I really think in 5th grade you learned about all of the simple machines. The major ones are wheels, levers, and inclined planes. Now, you can have combinations of those things that work together that make other simple machines, and that is what we call them. So anyway, simple machines actually make work easier. Again, what does work do? Yeah, it moves in the direction of the force. So wheels actually are used, or a wheel and axle, you'll sometimes call it, are used to reduce the slowing effect of friction, which would slow things down. But if I put wheels on the bottom of my table, I can zing it across the room without any trouble. Without wheels on my table, I have to use more force to move it. Levers, we've already talked about previously. In your catapults that you've been building, you've been actually working with levers. They rest on a fixed point called fulcrums, and they lift heavy objects or loads. And the third kind that we really need to know about are inclined planes or ramps that help us to move things from low to high or high to low with using less force than we do otherwise. So it says it requires less force to move an object up than lifting it straight up. The task, however, does take longer to complete. Think about walking to the office. If you just walk up those 3 or 4 steps, you go right up. But if you need to use the ramp, you have to go over, up, and back over to get the same distance. So it does take a little longer. Now, a pulley is a wheel and axle that's used a little different with ropes. A screw is actually an inclined plane or a ramp wrapped around a wedge. And a wedge is really just another kind of an inclined plane that is used to spread things apart. An example of a wedge would be an axe. We know that a screw we use to hold things together, and a pulley you can use, like I always think about a clothesline. Inclined planes or ramps we've got up the hall. Levers, I think about a seesaw or your catapult. And wheel and axle you're going to use today when you go home on the bus. I'll see you tomorrow.